Good evening. Welcome to another episode of your daily show, Achievements. I'm your host, Abdul Latif, and I have my colleague, Fatma.
Well, good evening, Abdul Latif, and good evening, dear viewers. As always, we promise you new reports, segments, and guests and achievements, so stay tuned.
Identity is built on things a person has done. Your most important accomplishments are a very important way for you to measure your success. Colleagues, competitors, and the general public can look at a person's achievements to figure out how successful they are. Most of the time, putting in a lot of work pays off. Most people think a successful life is one of a lot of things to be proud of. When you finish a task, you win over problems or other people. Achieve means to work together to reach a hard and challenging goal. Everyone should be ready to help out and work together if they need to. There are many ways to reach your goal, but in the end, it's up to you to decide how it will pay out in your life. In their careers, some people want to get rich and will be well known. Some people think that even small victories are reasons to have a party. We're all different, so we all have our own thoughts on everything. In the end, though, everyone wants to be happy, and everything you do in life will help you to get closer to that ultimate goal.
Welcome back, dear viewers, to your favorite program, Achievements, right here on KTV2. Tonight, we're having with us one of the most successful individuals right here in Kuwait. He is known as a chess player. His achievements is not just in Kuwait, but all around the Middle East. And through his age is still young, yet he did challenge one of the oldest competitors and won. So please welcome with us the Kuwaiti champion, Mr. Mish'al Zaid. Welcome, Mish'al.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, of course, and Achievements. We're really happy to have you here with us.
Mish'al, we're really glad to have you. Mish'al, I want to talk about the early steps of your journey, and can you tell us, like, when did you start and how with the chess?
I started playing tournaments when I was 7, but I think I learned how to play chess from my father when I was 4 or 5.
Of course, and we'd like to know, how did you start in this journey? What was your home background and how did you begin to play chess? I think a lot of our dear viewers are really interested to know that.
My father is a keen chess player, and he taught me how to play chess, and I liked it. It's interesting, it has strategy, and unlike other board games, there's no luck and things like that. So,
Of course, Abdul Latif, I think it's very interesting to have this kind of hobby that runs in the family, don't you think?
Yeah, there's a family legacy. I mean, your father started it maybe years ago before even you come, and now, mashallah, Mish'al, he's here and he's like one of the champions. He beat some people even older than you. So
I think that's quite impressive.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
But Mish'al, I wanted to ask you, why did you choose chess on your journey? Why? There's also many other hobbies, there's also many other fields that you can go into, but you still chose chess.
It's unique. It's different from other sports.
It is.
And it's very interesting, and there's always things to do, things to learn from, and becoming better.
Of course, there's always new strategies, new moves. Yes. I think that's very interesting in the game of chess. There's a lot of different techniques when it comes to playing. So can you tell us about your first game? How did you start?
My first game in a tournament, I think my first big tournament was Arab Championship in Sharjah in 2018. I didn't do good in it. I got 2 points out of 9 games. 2 wins.
But I think it's fine to do that in the beginning. It's fine to lose. You can learn from the mistakes.
Yeah, I kind of got a bit I got a bit affected by it, so I started training more, and yes.
Of course, I think it always starts like that, Abdul Latif. In the beginning, it can be very hard, but after that, you learn from the mistakes, and you even thrive to achieve more, especially after you failed a few times.
Especially in chess. You know that whenever you lose, you have to learn from the mistakes that you did, and also the technique that your opponent did it against you. So there's 2 lessons.
Yeah.
about the mistake that you shouldn't repeat, and maybe still in the technique that your opponents did. So there's 2 in 1.
Yes.
And also, I wanted to ask you about your favorite championship. I want to know about it.
My favorite chess championship, probably a tournament like Isle of Man, or maybe like something closer to Kuwait, Sharjah Masters or Dubai Open. Yes, it's like open tournaments that are very big, and of course I like to play against stronger players so that I learn from them, and if I win I get a lot of points, and also it's much more fun to play against stronger players.
Of
And
course.
every time you play it, it's fun, really.
Of
Right.
course, especially if you really like this kind of hobby or this kind of sport, and this is something that you grew up on. I think it's very important to be passionate about what you do. So when it comes to your favorite player, I'm sure you have a lot. So which one is your favorite player that you usually learn the techniques from, or some of the moves?
Of course, the world champion Magnus is of course a big example. His games are always like things that we see. Now, of course, he stopped. He let go of the world championship title, and other players like Caruana and maybe Nepomniachtchi and Ding, but also like the old players. I love the old players' games. It's of course a different era. Like that time, there were no engines, no computers, and like you have to bring everything from your head and from books.
But I think also that the chess moves have been changed
Yes.
since their time, and there are maybe some rules, or some of the pieces moves has changed as we learned from before.
Yes.
Do you think that maybe will misguide you on your journey, even in chess?
No, I think as long as you always keep an open mind to the new styles and the new games, of course it's good. And there are new styles and new games because they're like they're succeeding. They're beating the old styles. So yes.
That's really nice, Mish'al. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen, as we learn more about chess in this small report.
Chess has been around for a very long time. In 1834, the first unofficial world champion was named. And in 1886, the first official world champion was named. Since chess has been around for much longer than 200 years, it is hard to find players from before this time. Over the years, the Chess World Championships have been held by many different groups. During that time, there have been many great chess players. Here, we are going to talk about the 12 best chess player ever. Garry Kasparov is one of the best known chess players, and many people think he is the best player ever. He ruled the world of chess for more than 20 years. From 1985 to 2000, he was the world champion. In 1985, Kasparov won the title of the world champion by beating Anatoly Karpov, who was one of the best chess players of all time. At age 22 and a half, he became the youngest person to win the world championship. Even though Kasparov lost his title in 2000, he was still the best player of most of his career. He retired in 2006, but he was the best player in the world when he quit. Most people think that Kasparov is the best player of all time, but Carlsen is the most versatile. He is the only player to have won the world championship in Standard, Rapid, and Blitz. In 2019, he even held all 3 titles at the same time. Since 2011, Carlsen has been the best player in the world and the #1 player. In 2013, just before he turned 23, he won the world title. This made him the second youngest player ever to win the world championship. He was also the youngest player ever to reach the rating of 2,800, which he did in 2009. Also, with a score of 2,889, he has the highest score in history. He also set a record in February 2020 by going in 125 games without losing in standard time controls.
Welcome back, dear viewers, to your program Achievements. We're back with Mish'al Zaid. Of course, Mish'al, we can see a lot of trophies right here in the studio. So can you tell us some of the competition you participated in?
I participated in various competitions, Arab championships, online championships, Asian, till now not world, but inshallah.
Hopefully one day we'll have you after the World Championship. I think this is very exciting.
Yeah,
At a very young age, he has participated in many championships.
And also, Mish'al, there's not only the trophies that you have also more and more in your house, medals and other trophies. But
Yes.
I think these are one of the most interested, right?
Yes, these are the big ones.
And so, Mish'al, I want to ask you about the last move you did on the last championship. Do you remember it?
Yes, it was last week in Khaldiya. It's a first yearly chess tournament in Kuwait, and it was a very nice tournament, rapid tournament. Rapid is like 10-minute games, and we had very much fun. I lost one game, however, the last round it was against one Mr. Mohammed Gad from Egypt, and it was very solid. He played very hard, but I tried to do some tricks here and there, and then I started losing on time. The last move he did was a mistake. However, I think the game was already lost. Yeah, it was a move by the queen, and then taken lost.
Of course, I think these games, I believe, can be very hard and stressful, especially if it's a rapid. He mentions 10-minute
yes.
game.
And it's really hard, especially in chess when you are so young. There are also too much pressure on you when there's someone, when your opponent way older. So, and when you win, I think it's more interesting.
Of course, and I think
Like,
sometimes
yeah.
because the older opponent usually might have a lot more experience, but in your case, I think you have a lot of more experience. Earlier we were talking, he
Yeah.
started playing chess at 4 years old. Am I
Yes.
correct? I think that's a very young age. So who is your biggest fan?
My biggest fan, I think it's like my family, my mother and my father, and the whole family.
Of course, I think that's very important. Family support, Abdul
Family support,
can
yes.
really help you achieve a lot in your life.
And with that, I want to ask you about how is the family support around you from the people?
It's very good. Also, not only the family, also the all people in like from the chess community, and also like friends and yeah.
Of
And
course, you have also the support from also not only from the family. I mean, even your friends, the school. I think the Kuwait Mind Games Club, right?
Yes, also the Kuwait Mind Games Club, and it was. I mean, like I remember when I was 2017, 2016, I used to go to play in the club, and my aunties would come and they'd wear T-shirts with my face on it.
I think that's
Yes.
amazing. I love that kind of support.
It's really cute.
And it kind of really encourages you to do better, especially to have people around you cheering for you. I think that's amazing, Mish'al. And I think there's a lot more to talk about. So stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back with more and more reports. Stay tuned.
Have been as interesting to people throughout history as chess, even though it has been played all over the world, and for hundreds of years the rules of the game haven't changed much, except for the moves of some pieces of chess. The game, which started in India, was brought to Europe by the Arabs through Spain in the early Middle Ages. Mish'al Hijab of Kuwait won the award for the best young player at the first Gulf Chess Championship. Mish'al Hijab from Kuwait won the award for the best emerging player in the men's tournament, and Aisha Al-Azmi from Kuwait won the award for the best emerging player in the women's tournament. The championship, which began in the October of 22nd and had 49 players from teams in the Gulf Cooperation Council, came to an end. During its time, there were strong competitions that showed the different levels and good technical skills of the participants.
Welcome back, our viewers. So, Mishal, I wanted to ask you, how do you like this report?
It was very good and very.
Is it interesting?
Yes.
Of course, I think it's very interesting to actually see the games. I think not a lot of people usually see this kind of games. They usually have the idea that chess game is usually a group of 5, and to actually see a huge turn up, a lot of numbers, a lot of people there, I think sometimes it can be a little bit stressful. Do you find it a little bit stressful every now and then when you join a competition?
Usually, it depends on the first rounds. Also, it depends on the traffic and chess. You need a very peaceful setting, and yeah.
So, what are some of the tricks that you learned before starting the game of chess?
Some tricks. A fork is the basic. It's like a pawn or knights, and or maybe also other pieces, but mainly those two. It's like you attack 2 pieces at the same time. Also, maybe the ladder or the piano, some people call it. It's when the rook comes in and goes like this to make the king go into the side and checkmate.
Of
But
course.
also, yes, but also sometimes when you do these techniques, your opponent knows it. So, what do you do when they like block this strategy that you are doing?
Sometimes you force it. Sometimes just the opponent cannot do anything. But if the opponent blocks it, that's what usually happens, honestly. And there's one world champion from the 60s. His name is Capablanca. He says that the best way to attack is having 2 attacks, 2 threats at the same time, so that it's harder for the opponent to manage to block all of them.
Of course, to actually attack them from 2 points where they can't actually see the second one. I think this is an amazing technique when it comes to chess. It takes a lot of thinking and a lot of practice to actually practice these kind of moves and tactics.
Yes.
And who do you usually practice these kind of tactics with? Is it your teammates? Is it your dad? Because earlier we were talking and you said your dad usually is the one who is helping you in order to really achieve your goals when it comes to chess.
Yes. Of course, my coach and my dad, and also my teammates. Before there were less players in Kuwait like my age. Now there are much more and more. Some of my friends, they went to university now, finish. I see them less now, and like that. But yeah, also not only in Kuwait, like people from other countries online.
Okay, that's really interesting. So you still play online. I think, especially during the pandemic, a lot of people usually had a lot of problem when it comes to playing the game of chess.
Yes, and also you can use the pandemic time in your advantage to train and to learn, and maybe also to compete with your dad and maybe win against him.
Yes, actually, in Kuwait Championship, the highest ever, I think the highest ever number recorded, or one of the highest, was actually right after the pandemic. Because so many people learned how to play chess at home, playing online. Then they went to the tournament, and I think it was more than 70.
Of course, I think a lot of people really picked up a lot of things during the pandemic, and to actually be joining the game of chess can be very hard, but to have this extra time during the pandemic to learn more about the game. And I think a lot of our dear viewers are really interested when it comes to the experience and the highlight of your journey. Which one is your favorite?
My favorite part of chess is, I guess you could say it's the, honestly, I think it's the tactics, that's the fun part. I mean, usually chess is like a lot of the things like preparing for it is very boring. Like imagine like before the war, it takes a long time, like maybe a year to get ready for war, like before.
Yes.
But the day of the fight is like maybe one day or a couple of days.
And also, do you think it's fun when sometimes you have to travel to another countries. I mean, one of the last times your father also went, I think, to Sudan,
Yes.
where there is a tournament.
Yes.
You can also learn about these countries and learn about the other people who practice the same thing that you are doing, and maybe learn from them for new techniques and
Yes.
other moves, right?
Yes, there's something great in all sports. The thing that you get to go see other cultures, other countries, and they give you some stuff and you give them some stuff, and it's very fun and interesting.
Of course, I think the exchange of culture is really important,
It
especially
is.
when you're going in different
fun.
countries, learning about their background, as well as playing chess. It's a lot of experience, Abdul Latif, and I think it's really amazing to do that at a very young age.
Thank you.
And also, you can visit these countries. There are some stories that you can make, not only in chess. I mean, you can also visit the landmarks in these countries. You can have fun with it. Also, maybe when you go like with your family, not only with your father, because most of the times I think that you travel only with your father, right? When sometimes you go with your family, it's also
Yes.
something memory that you can have.
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting about the cultures, and it was when we went to India for the Olympiad with the Kuwait national team, and there were over 1,600 players, and I think 160 countries, maybe more.
That's a lot of countries.
Yes,
That's
it
a lot
was,
of players also.
Yes, of course.
and we it was like whole. It was just crazy. Yes.
Did you meet a lot of competitors that you made a friendship with? I think it's a lot of countries probably
Yes.
had a lot of friendship, and do you still have them till this day?
Yes, we have.
And yes, and also you can whenever like you want to learn something new, you can contact them and you can maybe exchange information.
Yes, of course. I think that can be very helpful. So do you
Yes.
do that?
A little, because most of the things you just. I mean, nowadays you have the computer, so you just put it on the engine and that's it. But if you want to have a more human, human ideas, because the computer just tells you the move. It's like a calculator. Doesn't
Yes.
give you, tells you the move, but doesn't tell you why. So of course, yeah, having players is very nice.
It's very nice.
Yes.
And since you've met players, 1,600 players, and from more than like 16 countries, do you think that Mish'al achieved his goal yet?
I think I don't think I achieved my goal. Of course, there's never. I mean, some goals I did, like winning the Arab Chess Championship under 16. That was a goal, since I was like 12, and
But not all of it.
yeah, of course, no, not even 1%. I mean, like Asia and Western Asia and world, it's much more.
You still have a
you
lot
look
to
for-
accomplish. I think a
Yes.
lot more, because you're still at a very young
Yes.
age, and he has really achieved a lot, and we're very proud of your achievements.
Yes.
We are, especially that we see these trophies that you have, and you still want. You still said that you only achieved 1%. I mean, that there is still 99% of
Yes.
these achievements. That's really nice, Mish'al. And of course, you have something in like maybe in the year 2023 you want to do. You want to achieve at least for this year, right?
I think I would like to also again win the Arab Chess Championship under. I think I'll play again under 16 this year, and also Western Asia, and I'd like to play just in regular tournaments, like not international tournaments, like just chill tournaments. Maybe in the summer there'll be a lot of time for that, and yes, just try to get my rating up. My rating now is 1,800, I think 70.
Oh.
And I'll try to reach to 2,000 this year.
That's very impressive, and actually to have this kind of goal that you hope to achieve at a very small amount of time, I think that's very soon. That's a couple months from now, right?
Yeah.
But hopefully you will achieve it, and I think a lot of our dear viewers are really impressed by his achievements so far at a
And
very
he's
young
still
age.
young. Yes.
Yes, I
And,
think that's very impressive.
Yes. And looking at these achievements that you already have, do you think that these achievements maybe will slow you down on your future, to your journey?
I think these achievements, they help me positively. I mean, if you don't win tournaments, then it's going to affect you. and I think it's brings you up, makes you want to do more.
So, do you think that if you actually went back in time, would you still choose chess or would you choose something else?
I think I would choose chess, but I mean mainly it was because of my surroundings, because my father liked to play chess, so it was like something I learned from him. However, I think it's a very nice sport, and yeah, I think I would. Yes.
Of course, I think that's amazing to actually have the
It
family who started playing chess with them at a very young age and to become who you are today. We really applaud you for this amazing efforts.
Thank you.
Mishal, I have something else to say. It's really, I'm thinking about it for a long time, since especially we heard the report, and before, when I heard that we have one of the most special guests, that despite that you are young, you still have a future in front of you. But I want to ask you, are you going to do the same thing that your father did for you when you get married and you have a kid, inshallah? Do you think that maybe you will let your son learn chess and maybe to practice it?
Probably, I think, but if they like it, if they don't like it, then no. But yeah, of course, I would be delighted to.
And but before just we end, there are also one of the questions I want to ask you. Do you have anything else to say before we end?
Yeah, chess is a great sport, and I recommend it to anyone. But you might do too much, so you take care of that.
Of course, I think managing time and having balance of life is very important. I believe
you have to get this balance of life, and thank you, really thank you, Mishal. And with that, our dear viewers, we reached our time. Hope you enjoyed this episode. See you tomorrow, and goodbye.
Goodbye.